My name is Joy Kirigia. I'm a reporter with Africa Uncensored. After two friends of mine committed suicide earlier this year, I set out to understand what would drive people to such acts. My search for answers focuses on mental health. In this episode, I find out what the possible triggers for mental health issues are.
Almost all of us have some degree of mental problem. The degree is now what determines whether one is at the level where they need intervention or not.
The psychiatrists I have spoken to say that it is likely that an individual will develop a mental health problem or have close contact with someone who does in the course of their life. But how and why does this all happen? Where does it all start?
Okay, there is what is behind you or I developing mental illness, and actually what triggers the mental illness, and also what propagates the mental illness. There are those three phases of mental illness. The one that really is, maybe you can say, is behind all this is our genetic makeup. Although all this still is at a theory level, but it is known that your genes play a very important role in you either having a mental illness or not. Like if my grandfather had a mental illness, the chances are higher that I'll have mental illness, but it does not follow that I will have mental illness, but the chances are increased.
According to Dr. Ian, triggers of mental illnesses don't always come from our genes.
Then there is the triggers now, the precipitators, and many times it is stress in your environment that will precipitate blowing up or triggering of mental illness symptoms. Mood disorder. Let's talk about mood disorder as a whole. It's the umbrella of all these others. Depression is inside there. You find the bipolar is inside there. Those are the main ones. Psychotic conditions or psychosis. There are many. One of them is schizophrenia. It is one of a very debilitating condition in which gradually one tends to lose touch with the reality and they completely live in a world of their own. They hear voices, they see things. Their thinking is completely detached from reality and they are just in a world that is so unreal, but to them it's very real. Then there are anxiety disorders. This is again a very big umbrella of conditions. In there we have generalized anxiety disorder. In there we have the phobias. So many people have one phobia or another. The majority of us, we fear reptiles, snakes, and what have you. There is post-traumatic stress disorder inside there. There is acute stress disorder. There are many anxiety disorders.
When I approached my 20 years of life, I discovered that I had a lot of trauma from my childhood, and a lot of it came from the violence that happened in my home, and that contributed immensely in my bouts of depression with time. So I discovered that for me to heal myself, I had to understand that I had to heal the trauma that came out of post-traumatic stress disorder. And that made me understand also that that was the root of my depression.
6 out of 10 people attending primary care clinics have diagnosable mental disorder. This is according to the World Health Organization. But how do you tell whether someone is mentally ill?
When I was a young boy, I used to think men do not have emotions. But as I grew up, life taught me that a man is a human being like any other. He has feelings, he has thoughts, he has decisions, he has ideas, which he can speak up without shame. And so this prompted me to be open about my own pain, not just as a man, but as a human being, so that other people can learn that mental health is as important as any other thing that we care about in this life.